I wanted to know what your opinion was on that Tyga video, Ay Caramba, because I remember American Cholo made a big deal about it. He was able to get him to take it down. How did you feel as a Mexican, the imagery and the stereotypes that he had in that video, Tyga?
It didn't bug me. The reason it didn't bug me is we do stuff. We got people, our youngsters running around sagging their pants, saying the N-word, taking from your culture. So why are we going to cry about a song it really doesn't matter? I didn't even think the song was good. So I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. So I really didn't care about it. It's like, okay, so you clowned on us. So what? Somebody else is going to clown on you. It's just part of it is. That's L.A. This is what we do in L.A.
Yeah.
That's why there's never going to be a correlation between the blacks and the browns. Because what's good for the geese is not good for the gander in the scene. It's just not going to happen. We're not the type, and I'm going to be completely honest. And like I said, people might not like what I said. But one of our biggest gripe as older guys is that the blacks will cry about certain things that we won't cry about. That we're going to keep our mouth shut about it. We might not like it, but we're going to keep our mouth shut about it. And some blacks are more boisterous than others. Not all blacks. Some blacks are more boisterous than others. Just like there's some Latinos that are more boisterous on our end. It's the same thing. But from my generation and what I grew up, it was always just keep your mouth shut.
Now, what if a Mexican rapper did a video where he had black stereotypes in it? Let's say fried chicken, watermelon, eating watermelon. I could imagine a whole lot of blacks would be in an uproar.
Yeah, there would be a backlash. It would be more of a backlash than what happened with this.
But I think Gil felt the same way, but in this time it's the other way around. It's a black rapper, Tyga, making fun of Mexican stereotypes, the burrito, the taco, the fat dude, the low riding. I could see how some people thought it was offensive.
Okay, well, if I felt that way, it would be a different way. Gil feeling that way, it shouldn't be the same way because he's not Mexican.
That's true. I was going to ask that. I didn't want to keep talking about him, but just in general, a Central American, let's say he's Honduran, but let's say it could be a Salvi, someone from Guatemala, Honduras, but they're in the culture. To some degree, they're accepted by their Mexican peers.
Yeah, they're accepted. That ain't the point. The point is, okay, Tyga made a video about Mexicans, right? Getting his clown on. Okay. So you let a Mexican deal with it. If he feels offended by it, let a Mexican deal with it. We don't need anybody else from a different community to come into my community and try to regulate and tell us how we're supposed to feel. Because I met a lot of people that didn't feel the way he felt. And like I said, the fame gets to your head, so it's more about clout than it was about what was right and wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think it's difficult when you're a Central American living in, Southern California, dealing with Latino issues, because most of the Latino issues in Southern California are going to be Mexican-based.
Yeah, right.
Right. So you either need to be embraced by the Mexicans, or like you said, let a Mexican take the lead. But I don't know if a lot of people made an issue about that, him not really being Mexican. Most people assume he's Mexican, but does it really matter at the end of the day?
To me, it does.
Okay.
And to a lot of other people, it does.
But
there was an issue with him speaking up for race issues. He has a thing about George Lopez. He had a thing about Duno, saying that Duno wasn't Mexican enough, that George Lopez is not Mexican enough or doing enough for the Mexican people. That's not up for him to decide. He's not Mexican. He doesn't know how we feel. He's Honduran. There's difference. There's different communities. So anybody, a Salvi, Guatemalan, they'll come in and say, oh, well, this for the Mexicans. Well, how do you know we're not Mexican enough? You're not Mexican. You don't know how we feel. We have our own. We don't need anybody to step in. And see, that's a big thing with me. It's always been, I don't need another group to come in and speak for us. We can speak for ourselves. If we have an issue with something, Mexicans will speak for themselves. We don't need you, anybody else. And then not just Gil, but just anybody in general that wants to come up and say, well, it's us and let's say the blacks, right? And the Mexicans and the blacks are sticking, you know, a black comes up and says, oh, we're speaking up for the Mexican. No, you're not. Because we have our own representatives. We don't need, you know, anybody speaking for us. At least that's the way I feel. I'm proud of being what I am. I don't need anybody else telling me anything. You know what I mean? And I didn't have an offense with what Tyga did.
Now, let me ask you this. There's a comedian named Carlos Mencia.
Yes.
His father's Honduran. His mother's Mexican. But everyone assumes he's a Mexican. You know, he does a lot of funny, you know, Latino jokes. Yeah. But he does acknowledge his Honduran side.
Correct.
He's not 100% Mexican. Does he still kind of get treated as a slight outsider if it came to Mexican issues because your father is Honduran?
No, I don't think so. I think if he just having some kind of Mexican blood in you is it makes it goes a long ways.
Because look, at the you know, let's go back to 500 years ago. There were none of these borders there.
Right.
You know, this was
all indigenous.
Yeah, this was all Mayan land.
Right.
You know, especially the southern part of Mexico, all through Belize, Guatemala. There's Mayan temples there right now.
They were all one.
So that means this was all one nation, and now we got like 5 borders here, and we're talking about division between different Latino groups.
Right. But see, if you look it down on the Mexican, right? It's usually from Mexico. They're from Mexico. That's just a country. So I got family from Mexico. But if you really look down there, we're indigenous. Yes, we are indigenous, and we're going to be all way up north to way down south. But then they got norteños, they got sureños, they got bulldogs, they got all these different fractions.
Yeah.
So it's just the point of it. Just don't come in my house and tell me what I can do or what I should do or how I should feel. Because when it comes down to it, let's say a brother has a problem with what we said, right? Stupid Mexican, stupid this, Mexican this, wetback this, boom, boom. They're going to pound on us. My people are the ones that take all that hit. They don't talk about his culture. They don't talk about anybody else's culture. They automatically go to a Mexican. That's the difference. It's like you're not getting attacked. They're not calling your mother names. They're calling my mother names, my father's names. They're calling my grandparents' names. They're attacking my culture. They're not attacking his. Now, if they knew that it was his culture and they attack him, that's something completely different.
Okay. I feel like it's attacking all Latinos that are from this same region of the world, even though there is a border there that says if you're born on this side, you're Mexican. If you're born on the other side, you're Honduran, Salvi, Guatemalan, etc. So I didn't really have a problem with seeing Gil represent for La Raza because he did go up to No Jumper with about 50 Raza with him. So they kind of supported him to a certain extent. Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't.
No?
No. Let's just say from the background that I come from, that wasn't right. Okay. You have Adam, 22, a white dude, skinny white dude. You go 50 deep, right? Yeah, whack 100. One black guy. Where's all the numbers? If you're going to go with that kind of energy, then you should have that energy all the time. Not just for one. See, I had a video before I took him down saying that exact same thing. The only reason it was 50 deep was because it was a white boy. There was no threat. There was nothing to happen. But because whack 100's black, people are going to back him because his peeps are going to back him. That's why they're different.
I'm sure you didn't agree with him popping up on American Cholo's porch.
No. You know, I don't get along with American Cholo.
Yeah.
But that was wrong what he did.
What would happen if somebody popped up on your porch, man? I mean, never mind. Don't even answer that.
You don't want to know.